Hi, everybody. I'm Ilana Rose. I am a psychic, medium, witch, and empath. Welcome to my YouTube channel, A Third Eye Awake. If you have found yourself here, please know that it is not an accident. um, I am creating this channel in order to better communicate with my soul tribe, to put some messages out there that need to be out there for other people. And part of what this channel will be about is discussing what it means to wake up, to have a spiritual awakening, to be awakening. So if you are early in your journey, you have also found yourself in the right place, whether you're sure or not. So stick around and find out why. Why it is that you are here. And so part of this channel is going to be me providing people, you guys, with resources and helpful information and support that I wish I had when I was just kind of starting on my whole spiritual awakening journey, um, which began in the fall of 2018. So it has been just over 5 years now since this journey sort of started for me, and it has come leaps and bounds in that time. Let me tell you. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what it means to be psychic, what it means to be a medium, a witch, an empath. Um, but the overarching theme of all that we're going to talk about is healing. All of the information that I get for people, for the collective, and for myself is always related to healing. So, whether you are trying to heal yourself or you are a healer or both, you are in the right place. We are going to talk about the intersection of the metaphysical with healing. And there are many different kind of smaller umbrellas underneath that large umbrella of healing. And there are a lot of different ways that healing intersects with um, lots of different kinds of people with lots of different kinds of missions here, in terms of their souls and why they came here. We are going to talk about past lives, energy work, chakras, astrology, crystals, oracle cards. We're going to talk about different kinds of witchcraft. We're going to talk about the way that we keep ourselves safe as highly sensitive people, as empaths, as witches, as light workers, as healers. It is very important that somebody, me, provide everybody with some resources on how to be safe in the physical sense, in the spiritual sense, energetically. For those of us that are super sensitive or are doing light work, um, there are frequently darker energies, entities, forces that do not like us doing what we do. Um, and they do attack us, they do try to harm us. And it's very important that you guys all have the resources to keep yourself safe. And so that is something that we're going to be talking about, is resources and different tips, tricks, information that you need to know in order to be able to do that for yourself. So when we talk about psychic abilities, we are talking about intuitive abilities, and there are different clairs, as they're called. Claire is the prefix to the different names of all the different abilities. And there are many different kinds. I do not pretend to be an expert on all that exists out there. I am pleasantly surprised all the time um, with meeting new people who have abilities that I've never seen before. I think it's fascinating and it's awesome. I love meeting people who have different abilities to me. I think it's so, so cool. I love talking to them and finding out, like, how do they do what they do, and like how does information come in for them. And it's always super neat to talk with other like-minded people. Um, and I'm sure that if you're here, you know a little bit about what I'm talking about. um, so, that being said, um, there are four main clair abilities. There is clairvoyance, which is clear sight. There's clairaudience, which means clear hearing. There's claircognizance, which is clear knowing. And there's clairsentience, which is clear feeling. And those four main ones are sort of the most common. Most people um, have one of those as sort of like a dominant clair ability. Um, and there are other ones that are less common. Um, and when they appear, they're typically in addition to other main clairs. They're not usually on their own, although I've met people where that is the case. There is clairaudience, which is clear smell. There's clairgustance, which is clear taste. Clairtangency, which is clear touch. And there's clairempathy. And I have all 8 of those to varying degrees. I don't really have a single dominant clair. The main 4 clairs, I would say, are fairly equal for me, as well as clairempathy and clairtangency. Those are sort of a core part of how I get the information and intuitive messages that I do. And the clairgustance and clairaudience are less common for me. And when they do happen, they're not usually on their own. They're usually paired with another dominant clair. And when I'm channeling a message for a reading or just channeling for myself or for the collective, what I'm doing is I'm receiving all of these different kinds of information, and then I'm synthesizing all of those different pieces and sort of translating that into a coherent narrative that is verbal and able to be shared and translated verbally for someone else. If I'm just translating it for me, I don't really have to do that extra. But if I'm translating it for someone, especially for a reading, that's what I'm doing, is synthesizing the information that I'm getting it from all of these different facets and different modalities, and taking that and integrating that and sort of processing it through to create what is sort of a coherent message that can be shared with the other person or persons, as the case may be. And so it's very hard to explain to most people why it sort of looks like I'm just looking off into the distance or having a conversation with myself. In reality, I'm not. I'm taking all of these different pieces and trying to kind of figure out how they fit together. So when it comes to mediumship, that is a different thing entirely. You can be a psychic and not a medium, but in order to be a medium, you have to be a psychic. Uh, so being a medium means that uh, you can communicate with the other side. And the way that different people conceptualize what the other side is, how it looks, how it's structured, who's there, who gets to go there, all of that stuff. We will talk about it, but what's more important than all of us agreeing on that is understanding that mediums speak with those that are no longer here in physical form. So humans that whose souls are not in body anymore. So whether you call them ghosts or spirits, or just lovingly call them ancestors, as the case may be, they they're here with us. They're able to communicate if you're able to hear it. So being a medium, a mental medium specifically, means that you are able to hear that. You are able to hear in some way, shape, or form or communicate with the other side. Um, and in my case, what it means is that I'm able to communicate with, I would say, just about everybody. um, I know that sounds wild, but what that means for me is that it can totally vary. It really depends on the situation. I would not go so far as to say that I have excellent communication with every animal. I don't. But sometimes I have very good communication with a particular animal that's trying to communicate with me and doing so very successfully. So sometimes it looks like me talking with a spirit. Sometimes it looks like me communicating mentally, energetically with an animal that's alive. Sometimes it's an animal that's dead. Sometimes trees, plants, flowers, land spirits, nature spirits, angels, you name it, crystals, objects, places. Uh, there are all different ways to communicate. And I am very blessed in that I'm able to communicate with lots and lots of different kinds of entities and energies. The other kind of mediumship, not mental, is physical. So, physical mediums, uh, there are different kinds of physical mediumship. Physical is kind of its own double offshoot of trance mediumship and physical mediumship. So, trance mediumship is exactly as it's aptly named. The person goes into a trance and channels in that way. That is also something that I do. Um, I don't allow uh, anyone that is not my spirit guide to step into my body. That's just way too dangerous. um, but I do trance work with my spirit guides. And I will do a video explaining a little bit more about that later and what that's like and how that, what it looks like, how it feels, etc., how it works. And then there's physical mediumship kind of on its own, which also applies for me, um, which has more to do with channeling energy physically through my body. Because I'm a physical medium, it means that I'm constantly picking up energy and information um, in my body. And I have to regularly, daily, move that energy through my body and out of my body. I can't allow it to stay. Um, it's not meant to stay in my body. So, in order to channel it out, I have to do things like singing, um, dancing, swimming, coloring, yoga, things that are meditative, that are physical, that are repetitive, um, that allow me to go into a slightly altered state where I'm present, but I'm able to be more than present, um, and also kind of absent in order to allow the information to kind of flow through. Um, so we'll talk a little bit more about physical mediumship as well and what that looks like. And I'm also a witch. So part of what we will be talking about is witchcraft and what that looks like in practice for different people, different ways to adapt different practices for what you may need them to be, how to use it to help you in terms of your healing and helping for healing for others. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I myself am a hereditary witch. Um, I'm also a Jewish witch. And I would describe myself as primarily an eclectic gray hedge witch. And we will talk a lot more about what my identity means, how other witches do and don't identify, and why. We will talk about the political and social implications of it, the taboos associated with it and around it, that persist even to this day. And we will talk about being an empath. I myself am very much an empath, and I know that there is a lot of discussion around what it means to be an empath and how empaths are super vulnerable. We're going to talk a lot about safety. We're going to talk about practical ways for us as empaths to protect ourselves, to protect our energy, to remain open when we need to remain closed when we need to kind of learn how to navigate back and forth between those two, and learn how to filter things, learn how to protect ourselves a little bit better, and learn how to harness this superpower for our benefit as well as the benefit of others. It is a gift, it is not a curse. We will be talking about ways to embrace it, to utilize it, and I hope that you all will join me in loving yourselves, embracing yourselves, and healing yourselves on this journey together. As I said, welcome to A Third Eye Awake. I'll see you next time.